Our next game takes us out to Greenville, North Carolina, where the Navy midshipmen come into town to take on the East Carolina Pirates. What a fun matchup, Brad, that is. You got the Navy versus Pirates. Almost sounds like a real life scenario out in the India Ocean or somewhere along those lines. Friday afternoon kickoff on ESPN at 12 p.m. Eastern Carolina comes into this game favored by 2.5 points at Dowdy Ficklen Stadium. And Brad, coming into this game, I think everyone was hoping that Navy would be on track to be undefeated heading into that final game, December 14th, against Army. But here we stand, and they've got a 7-3, I believe, 7-3 record, and Eastern Carolina 7-4, knocking at the doorstep, hoping to get to 8 wins this year. Brad, East Carolina gets them at home. Thoughts on this game and who comes out on top in this AAC matchup?
Nate, this is it's an intriguing game just simply for the fact that if we were talking about this game a month ago, the the roles of these teams would almost be reversed. Navy was so hot, began the year, I believe it was 6-0. They've lost 3 of 4 now. And then East Carolina has got to be one of the most interesting stories in this college football season. They started the season 3-4. They fire their head coach, and their interim, Blake Harrell, who was their defensive coordinator, he takes over. And what has he done? East Carolina's gone 4-0. They're riding high, and I believe it was this week he was announced as the permanent head coach going forward. So congrats to Coach Harrell. But I mean, these two teams, I mean, like I said, if we talked about them, even 3 weeks ago, it'd be a total different trajectory. So it just shows, how fun college football is. I'll tell you, Navy with this triple option is always tough to stop. But I'm so impressed with East Carolina. Coach Harrell has got this team playing an extremely high level. East Carolina's quarterback, Katon Hauser, who is a Michigan State transfer, transfer portal guy again. He's playing extremely good football. Navy with 3 out of 4 losses, man. They're struggling and they got to figure things out. This one's at East Carolina, and for that reason, I'm going to take the Pirates in this one, Nate.
Yeah, Brad, you mentioned the adversity that East Carolina has overcome. You mentioned the coaching change, and I find it similar in the sense, in a way, in not a completely similar way, but we look at a team like South Carolina, right, who started out really rough, maybe had a couple of good games, then everyone thought they were done, and here they are at the end, fighting for a chance possibly to get into the college football playoff, playing Clemson this last weekend in rivalry week. But this game, not playoff contentions, but it's still big. It's momentum. It's getting a better bowl game. It's starting the off season on a fresh note. You mentioned the coach signing an extension, and Navy completely opposite. Their ship is sinking. No pun intended. Maybe pun intended. But in all seriousness, it's been rough to see Navy kind of take that step down. We thought that they were going to be the team to beat in the AAC along with Army. They're always good, and that's not to say that Navy has not had a decent season. They obviously play very tough competition. They get blown out by Notre Dame. Army gets blown out by Notre Dame as well. That matchup's going to be great. Might be looking ahead for that matchup because that is their Super Bowl. That's their game of the year, and they're going to be ready for that one. Even though it's a few weeks away, you best believe they're going to be preparing for it. In this one, though, when we look at the two teams breaking them down, you mentioned Navy, I mentioned Navy. Look, the rushing attack is what wins them. That's what wins some games. That's their bread and butter. They've accumulated over 2,400 yards across 10 games, averaging 243 yards per game on the ground, 5.5 yards per carry. They've scored they've scored 29 rushing touchdowns, emphasizing their ground dominance. Key contributors include quarterback Blake Horvath, who we've talked about before on the show, leading the way for the midshipmen with 895 yards, 13 rushing touchdowns. That's been impressive to lead the team in rushing and passing. And then you look at their defense. Defense has made notable stops. They've been very good at eliminating explosive plays and controlling the time of possession. very good offensively, breaking down that run game, making it slower for those other offensive teams. And I think that's something that, East Carolina is going to be looking to do on the contrary, where they're averaging 288 yards passing and only 161 yards rushing. In the end, though, give me the East Carolina Pirates as well. I think they've got the better team. They're riding the momentum. They want to win out. They want to get a better bowl game. And I think in the end, the East Carolina Pirates are going to take this in the AAC. Let us know down in the comments who you think is going to win between the Midshipmen and the Pirates come this weekend.